Melissa with Aron received diploma.
Back at college.
Melissa and Aron walked down sidewalk with a suitcase.
At the train station again, second interstate trip in a week.
We're catching our breath. We missed our train, unfortunately, because we decided to oversleep this morning. But we're here nonetheless, waiting for the next one.
I cannot stop sweating. Oh my gosh.
Urban landscape and bridge over water from train.
We are back at my alma mater, Mount Holyoke College, because I'm speaking on a panel about my lived experience as someone who happens to be blind. And I'm also going to be talking about assistive technology, guide dogs, etc. We thought it would be helpful to talk about some tips that we found useful when navigating a college environment and trying to make the experience as accessible as possible for us.
Leverage the use of your disability support services office or related title. Having a good disability support service for someone who's blind is really, really helpful. It's going to allow you to get the accommodations you need, the books and the formats that you need, making classes accessible, working with professors that may or may not have worked with a student who's blind or visually impaired. So there's a lot of things to consider when going back to school or going to school for the first time, but disability support service should be on the top of that list.
And don't be afraid to interview with your college's disability office to get a feel for if they've worked with a blind student before or what accommodations they have or have not provided in the past. Get involved in social activities and extracurricular activities to maximize your involvement on campus. It's a great way to meet people, to get connected, to figure out what your interests may be. This may very well be your first time away from home, so it's important to take the time that you need to learn more about yourself and learn what motivates you during college. And also, just blow off some steam. I was personally involved in choir, and I had a lot of fun taking horseback riding classes.
Fantastic. I was on the marching band. It was a dream of mine to play on the drum line, and I got to do that 1 year at my university. I played the crash cymbals. It was super fun.
Connect with your career guidance office and alumni network. This kind of goes along with figuring out what you're interested in personally, but also professionally. What is a career that really sparks your interest, sparks your ability to be creative, to take initiative? What are you passionate about? Utilize your strengths in finding that career that really speaks to you as an individual. Your Career Guidance Center is a great way to find others who may be interested in the same career, to help you get connected in the community or in your college. And then, of course, utilizing your alumni network. Sometimes they can have additional resources. It never hurts to have those connections, to build friendships, and to locate mentors as you're going along what can be a very complex journey for many people. When commissioning a study, writing a paper, doing research, pick topics outside of your lived experience and blindness. That way you can maximize your educational experience. I think it's very tempting to talk about what we understand personally, and it can be easy to hone in on that rather than challenging ourselves to think outside the box.
Yeah, absolutely. I've made this mistake before, and I think we have to remember about studying in a college or university or any academic institution is that you're there to maximize your experience and your education. And certainly, your professors, your classmates, other people within the academic community might be interested in blindness and low vision, and there's certainly a place for that. But also remember that you have your lived experience, so you should try to pick topics either around the lived experience that could be helpful. Maybe some kind of study has been done on your particular eye condition that you wanted to know more about, or find another passion or topic. I think a lot of people with disabilities make this mistake of taking what they already know and trying to apply it to academia. And while it certainly works, it makes your job easier, I don't think it provides as rich of an educational experience.
Embrace the assistive technology that makes you feel the most comfortable and is practical for your course of study. So whether that's a braille display, an iPhone, a computer, Mac or Windows computer, make sure you're comfortable while you're taking courses. If there's something you want to pursue as a learning curve, like let's say you're on a Windows computer, you want to learn how to use VoiceOver on the Mac, that's fine, but don't feel pressured to. At the end of the day, what's most important is that when you're studying, when you're writing papers, when you're doing research, you are focusing on what makes you the most efficient at those tasks.
Be open to what maybe is a better alternative. For example, if you've got a note taker, maybe that worked in high school or maybe that worked in some other aspect of your life, but trying to get a note taker to connect to something like Canvas or Blackboard may not be the best use of that particular piece of technology. So really think about what's available to you, what you're most comfortable with, and not necessarily what a voc rehab agency is recommending. Certainly take their recommendations seriously, but also think about what is going to help you to get through college in the most efficient way and the best way possible so that you're maximizing your educational experience.
And don't let new technology intimidate you. Maybe it's a platform you've never used before, such as Moodle. That's where I took a lot of my quizzes.
Moodle.
Yes. And at first I was like, oh no, how can I possibly make this accessible? It was just a learning curve. It just took a lot of extra time to navigate the platform, get to know where all the buttons were, the check boxes for each questions, etc. But at the end of the day, I was able to accomplish it. It just took telling myself to take a breath, not to become overly impatient, and embrace that learning curve. And sometimes that is part of it, right? Is learning things that you never thought you would to become stronger in your academics.
College is what you make it. And my college experience, I'm a non-traditional student. I was a first generation student. So that meant I went to community college for a couple years. I went back to school in my mid-20s. I put myself through college. I worked, I did all these things. And I found that the more that you apply yourself to your college experience, whether that is, working a side job and getting that type of an experience, whether that's, joining social clubs, getting outside maybe the blind community and really seeing what's available to you on your college campus, what's in your small town, around the college, that is really going to be a much better alternative than not, and just sort of C's get degrees mentality, which I don't think is helpful for anybody. I'm not saying you have to be a straight A student, but I am saying maximize what's around you. You're paying for it. You're on this beautiful campus. You're doing all of these great things. You have all these great opportunities to you. Try an activity that you've never done before. Go talk to somebody that you haven't met before. Just kind of get yourself out there. I think college is a great place, socially and otherwise, to kind of experiment and see what you like, what you don't like, and a great way to sort of explore different topics, different cultures, different people, different mindsets, sort of within the confines of an academic institution. So take advantage of that. I don't know that there's anything else in life that's really like that.
Don't be afraid to educate and advocate. You may be the first student who's blind who set foot on this campus. Be prepared for that. If you've done the research beforehand on your Disability Services Office, you may already know that information, but in case you don't, be prepared to be the guinea pig of sorts.
Yeah.
You may have to do a lot of educating in terms of what is a reasonable accommodation for someone who's blind. In my case, it was, hey, videos with subtitles are not accessible to me. So all I'm hearing is the other language. I can't understand the subtitles. So a reasonable accommodation would perhaps be providing a written transcript of what the subtitles said so that I could follow along during the video itself. It's not afterwards. That transcript needs to be provided proactively in an accessible format so that I can follow along during the presentation or during that movie or video. Another kind of silly example, I guess, but I have a guide dog. My guide dog goes to the bathroom, and I had to advocate for the placement of accessible trash cans on campus, believe it or not, because someone thought, well, the aesthetics of having a trash can outweigh the ability for you to throw your dog's waste away, which is not the case. You can find a perfectly reasonable trash can, you can put it next to a building, and you're not creating accessibility for the blind person, you're creating accessibility for everyone by having a trash can in a convenient place. So just be mindful that whether it's big or small, you're going to become, with practice, comfortable advocating for your needs, your rights, your preferences, all of the above, so that you can have as smooth of a college experience as you can, given all the stress that's already involved.
It's okay to explore and not know. I think it's really easy for adults especially to say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do? You know, if you go talk to your voc rehab counselor, they're going to say, well, what do you want to be? We can't fund it, and give us a rehabilitation goal. And I get it. I get the mentality behind that. I understand that we have to have a plan in life. But sometimes it's okay to just say, look, I don't know what I want to do. I want to take some classes. I want to meet some people. I want to try and figure all of this out. And take your time. I think that was one thing I was struggled with in my early 20s, was not really knowing what I wanted to do and not being comfortable in that space. And I feel like I missed out in a lot of ways, whereas if I had taken the time to really just say, you know what, I'm a little lost right now, I will figure it out, I will keep moving forward, I think it would have been a better experience. Having said that, I think doing nothing is not necessarily the same as being lost. I think saying, well, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm going to do nothing, I think is really counterproductive to your progress in life and your sort of self-discovery journey. So try to keep moving, even if that's just I'm taking a gap year, or I'm taking this new class, or I'm being introduced to some people, I'm going to this networking event, whatever it is. I'm taking a different route home from my psychology class to get to the dorm today. All of that will help you grow in some way, shape, or form.
If considering a guide dog, plan to train between your freshman and sophomore year to allow time to transition. Not saying that you won't be successful, but going into college is a big step, personally and professionally, for your growth as an individual. There's a lot you're taking on. A packed class schedule, learning where your dorms are located, your classes, your dining hall, sometimes multiple dining halls depending on your campus. You have a lot going on. Not to mention you may be living on your own for the first time and practicing those independent living skills like cooking, cleaning, organization, whatever they may be. You're taking on a lot, and it's okay to take that transition and stride for yourself, become confident and independent in all of your skills, and in that transition, learn your campus, take the time that you need as an individual before adding a dog into the equation, because they have their own set of responsibilities. They're going to vary your routine and your schedule because you have certain times you need to feed them and take them out to the bathroom. If they get sick, you have to handle that on top of everything else that you're dealing with. So know that in adding a guide dog to your life, while it is an incredible experience, it can be another layer to consider and to plan around.
Jump cuts. Melissa and Aron walk through college campus.
This is the library. All the studying happens. We are now at the English building, where I spent many time here working on my major requirements.
I'll walk to you.
My first dorm.
Melissa and Aron walk down campus sidewalk. Title slide. College is what you make it.